Hello, everybody. Welcome to Stewie's Thoughts Podcast, episode 63. And on this episode, I'm going to give you my thoughts about a magnetic world. Don't worry, there's not a world out there that's full of magnets. It's got magnetic aliens that's coming to destroy the Earth as we know it. No, I'm talking about Earth itself and what it would be like if everything was made of magnets. Not everything, not like your pet dog or like a sirloin steak or something. I'm talking about, I don't know, magnetic cars, magnetic this, magnetic that type of thing. What could we do with magnets? Because magnets, right? For me, magnets are very unusual things. They're so weird, and we're going to get stuck into it. Now, on the last episode, I did play with your heartstrings a little bit, and I changed the whole intro, which I listened back to, and I can safely say that after listening to that new intro, I can hand on my heart say that intro was absolutely crap. As soon as I listened back to it, I was like, what the have you done? What have you done? What was wrong with my last one? Like, what the have you done? Stupid. Right? So I listened back to it. And even this morning, before I was going to do this episode, I was like, maybe if I listen to it again, just listen to it again and see what happens. And then I listened to it again, and it was even worse. I was like, what the heck have you done? You absolute idiot. Now, the reason behind it, right, was because the sound quality. Here we go, sound quality again. But that was the reason I was doing it. Now, I had a thought that what if I tracked down the original intro? Because the original intro, right, the sound quality of it is really good. Me being me, an idiot, what I actually did was edit it with the old microphones and all this kind of stuff. And that's why it doesn't sound the best. So the only alternative, and I mean, I actually like the intro. And I like the way I talk first and then do, play the intro. I love that. I've been doing that right from the very beginning. And then I changed it because I'm an idiot. Definitely everywhere. So I still have the original one. So I apologize for anybody who cried on the last episode. You're probably thinking to yourselves, why did he do this to me? There was no need for that.
There was no need for that. He literally broke my heart. He made me very emotional. Told me that we were never going to hear it again, but yet here he is. He's about to play it. What an idiot. What an absolute idiot. Next time I see him in the street. Dead. You're going to be dead, Stewie, when I get my hands on you. That'll be you in the ambulance. Hold on, did I turn this voice thing off?
Apologies. I mean, I listened back to it. I shouldn't have made a big deal. I should have just been like, I'm going to test out this new intro, and then if I don't like it, I'll just change it back. That's what I should have done, instead of making a whole scene about it, But what I'm going to do is keep this original intro, and then I tried to find it this morning, but couldn't find it. I am back on the website, the original website that I got it from, so I managed to get back onto there. It's just going through thousands and thousands of songs to try and find the original sound quality, and then the original one, and then I'll be able to put it back on, and then it'll be good. And then this is crap. Listen to this. Sounds like, now that I listen back to it, it sounds like something out of like a reality TV show or something, doesn't it? Welcome to The Only Way is Stewie. Oh, and in this episode, he's going to be getting a dildo and shoving it up his rear end. Oh, he's falling out with Nancy, and Nancy's not. Crap. Absolute crap. I can't. What was I thinking? Anyway, let's get stuck into it, shall we? Play the intro. I just jizzed in my pants. Oh, that felt good. Back to the way it was, right? And so, magnetic word. Before we get stuck into that, I'm just going to give you my thoughts about what I've been up to recently. And I only did a podcast 3 days ago, using this crappy intro, right? And what have I done since then? Well, 3 days. Well, it's day 4 now. But on the last episode, I probably told you about my tire, getting a puncture in my tire. I'm not going to go through it again because it was very traumatic. It was a traumatic experience, to say the least. And I went and got it changed. So I managed to get the spare tire off, or the spare wheel off, right? And this thing, I managed to put it in the car, and it was rusted to hell. Think of a rusty wheel. Well, think of that rusty wheel having rust on it, and then think of that having 10 times more rust on it. That's exactly what it was like. And this thing, right? The tire. It looked like the width of the tire was probably the same width as a bicycle tire. And I had this really dodgy, and I mean the most dodgiest wheel you could ever put on a vehicle was on my car, right? And I drove down to the tire place. Shout out to Mid Wales Tires, okay? You guys are great down there. I've been going to you guys for years. So I drove down to there, and then... See, on the way down there, it was all country roads and it was up and down hills and all this kind of stuff. I was absolutely bricking it. I mean, my heart was pounding. My sphincter, my bum was so tight, like atoms couldn't even get through it. That's one for all you scientists out there. I was panicking the whole way down. I was like, this thing could just easily crumble. And if this thing just caves in, I'm absolutely screwed. So I drove for a few miles, taking corners and stuff and all, and then the car was like wobbling and stuff. And I was like, oh God, here it goes. It's going to go any second here. And then I got to the point where I was like, I wasn't that far away from the garage. And I was that scared because I was going over bumps and everything. And I was like, God, this thing is going to like collapse or it's going to do something. It's not like something bad's going to happen. I got that feeling. And I thought to myself, well, look, you're within walking distance of this garage. Maybe you should just pull over the car and then just carry the wheel down and then get them to change it there and then come back. You know, that's how scared I was. Because, like, it was so... You need to see this wheel. I've actually got rid of it, like, so I can't take a photograph and show you, which I should have done. But this thing... anyway, I got so close to it, I was like, do you know what? Just keep going. Let's risk it. Let's risk this last mile or two, and then hopefully I won't die, basically. So I got to the garage, and then I went in. I said, there's a little office bit you go into, and I went into the office bit, and then I was like, yeah, I'm back again, because a couple of months ago, the exact same thing happened to me. I got a slow puncture, so I didn't need to change the tire. I just pumped it up, and it got me to the garage, right? But this time I actually had to put a spare tire on. When I say spare tire, I mean spare wheel. And I went into her, and you could tell, she was like, what are you doing back? And I was like, yeah, I got another puncture. And I think that, I says, I got another puncture, and it's on the same wheel. It's on the same tire. And I think she was like, looking at me as if to say, oh no, was that us? Did we not fix your puncture properly? And I was like, no, don't worry about that. It's there. I actually seen the screw hanging out that I drove over. If you listen to the last episode, I'll go into more depth about it. So I said there, I was like, I got 4 wheels on my car, like everybody else, right? Well, apart from them 3-wheeled cars, but everybody else. I was like, why have I gotten 2 nails put in the tire, the same tire? Like, I was like, I've got 3 other tires. Why is it always the same one that I always have trouble with? Because I had that wheel as well. I had a slow puncture on there when I first got the car. Same tire. And then I got the nail in it. Puncture. Same tire. And then I got the second nail in it. Puncture. Same tire. The other ones just wear and tear. There was nothing wrong. They just needed replaced for like the MOT and stuff. But it's always that. It's the... For anybody who wants to know, it's the rear driver side. So I don't know what the hell's going on with that wheel, but I think it's cursed. No other issues with the other 3 wheels, but that one wheel, it's given me an absolute nightmare since I had the car. It's out there, brand new tire on it. So I said to the lady, I was like, yeah, is there any chance you can, try and fix the puncture for me? Or I might have to get it replaced. I knew I had an idea that it was gonna get replaced because I had to use that foamy stuff, and normally whenever you use that foamy stuff, it just wrecks your tire. So she was like, yeah, well, I've got a bit of a queue at the minute. There's they've only got one guy who does the tires, changing the tires and stuff. And I turned up at his just as he's going for his lunch. So he was about to go for his lunch. She had about 3 cars lined up for me. She's like, is there any way you could leave it here? And I was like, when she said that to me, I was like, right, the actual tire that needs changed, the wheel, it's in the car, it's in the boot. So I'll take that out. And then the idea was to drive back in my car. But then I was thinking to myself, I'm not going through that again. So I had 2 options. I could either sit and wait for him to finish his lunch and for everything else, the other 3 cars to have their tires changed and then do it. Or walk home or walk somewhere. So as I was debating this, we went outside. She was like, we're going out to look at the tire. And as soon as they seen that spur wheel, they were like, yeah, we can fit you in right now. I was like, there's no way I'm driving home in that thing. Like, and the guy who, I don't even know his name. I need to get his name. The guy who changes the tires, young lad. He's a nice guy. Like, I always get along with him. Instead of me standing outside waiting or going into a waiting room, I actually stand and, chat to the guy because he's a nice guy to talk to. Like, so I was like chatting away to him, and he was like, yeah, as soon as she was like, can you change this tire before you go on your break? He was like, yeah, okay. Not really? None of that. He didn't look at his watch or anything like that. It was literally like, yeah, okay. And I was like, this guy's getting a tip. I'm tipping this guy. It's like, this guy, he's working over his lunch. I'm going to get my tire changed and I'm going to be fine. And I've just skipped the queue, blah, blah, blah. I was like, you have to tip this guy. Like, you can't just not give him a tip. So, end of story is basically, he took off the tire. He was like, yeah, that's shot, mate. You need to get a whole new tire. And I was like, yeah, I thought so. He puts the new tire on. I felt really bad for him that he was, working over his lunch. And then towards the end of it, after I agreed to give him a tip, I just found out this mother was just back from holiday. Lanzarote. He's been on the beach all week while I've been working my ass off. And he's, he was loving life, comes home and then goes straight to work. And I'm like, and then he has to skip breakfast. He has to skip his lunch for like 20 minutes. I instantly was like, if you had told me that, I wouldn't have tipped you. I felt sorry for this guy, not realizing that he was living the life in Lanzarote while I've been stuck here in this miserable Welsh weather. I give him a tip anyway, yeah, but it was a nice guy, and some got the tire fixed. I'm happy. The spur wheel, I should have took a photograph of that. Anybody who's got a Toyota, or if you look at your tire, right, and it's underneath your car, if you look at your spur wheel and it's underneath your car, and you can't figure out why is this thing not, how do you unclip this? If it looks really awkward, it's probably the same mechanism as the one that's on my car, where you have to lift up like the boot. You have to go into your boot, and then where your jack is for your car, there should be like a little bolt next to it. There might be like a little plastic sort of plug or whatever. Take that off, and then you'll see a bolt, and then you just twist that bolt, and then the wheel lowers down. It's on like this wire. So whenever you lower it, it just lowers it to the ground, and you just unclip it, and then there you go. Because for the life of me, could not bloody find out how to lower this tire. I always get tire, spur wheel, spur tire. It's the same thing, isn't it? Right. Look at that. 15 minutes of a rant. Let's get stuck into the topic. Well, magnetic world. If you love magnets, this one's for you guys. Who loves a magnet? right, I'm going to give you some mind-bending facts here, right, just before we start. The idea of this episode is just to see what we can actually do with magnets, right? But here's an interesting thing for you. Did you know that the North Pole, sorry, I popped there, the North Pole, do you know that's actually Earth's magnetic south? Hang on, screwed that up. The North Pole is Earth's south magnetic pole. So basically, the North Pole is actually the South Pole. Did you know that? Did you? Let me explain, right? You think of a magnet. Now, you might have to, imagine yourself back at school where it has a north and a south pole, right? This is the magnet. The red end and then the blue end, if I remember correctly. Now, what happens if you have two of them magnets? North and north, right? When you put them magnets together, do you remember in school? You used to get two magnets and they repel off each other. So they're like bouncing off each other. And then if you put the opposite around, they stick together, they attract. Well, north attracts south and south attracts north, right? And if you do north and north, they repel, okay? Now, if you think about a compass, the needle on the compass is magnetic. And where's it pointing when you're wanting to go north? Where's it pointing? North. So if it's pointing north, then it's attracted to the south. If it was pointing north and the North Pole is north, then it would repel. So the compass would actually be facing south to go north. Do you get it? So the compass is pointing north and it's magnetic. So it's attracted to the south, but it's pointing north. So actually, the North Pole is actually the magnetic South Pole of the Earth. So the North Pole is the South Pole. Bit of physics for you there, guys. Hey everybody, this podcast is sponsored by U-Tunes. Looking for something to make your wedding day extra special? Maybe you're hosting a corporate event, or even planning a birthday party, or a jago, or a bar mitzvah, the list goes on. Have you thought about hiring a caricature artist? Well, look no further than U-Tunes. U-Tunes offers a professional, full-time, multi-award winning caricature artist on hand to draw and entertain you and your guests. Not only will they leave with a very unique keepsake from your event, they will also be entertained by the eye-watering, side-splitting stand-up comedy performed by the artist while he draws. Having a caricature artist at your event will definitely make it a unique experience for your guests. U-Tunes covers all over Britain and the Channel Islands, and their prices are reasonable and affordable. If you want to get more information about this, please get in contact with them through their website, utunes.co.uk. That's the letter UTOONS.co.uk, or simply just Google U-Tunes. You can find them on all social media platforms as well. So get in touch, guys, and hire a caricature artist for your event. Back to the podcast. Now, something just dawned on me there. The sound quality. The sound quality of that ad needs to be updated, and I will be doing a new one. So the reason for this episode was because last night I watched Total Recall. I didn't watch the original Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was the one, the remake with, what do you call him? The Irish guy. I don't know, I can't remember his name. And on that film, there is cars and they're going along on the road, and Colin Farrell, or his name just came in my head. So they're driving along, and the cars looked like it was magnetic. So it looked like the road itself was made of magnets, I guess, and then the cars were like made of magnets, and they were like, driving along using magnetic power to transport people in the vehicles. And that got me thinking. I was like, why don't we do that? Like, why don't we, redo all our roads and put magnets in it, and then just like, north and north repel off each other? You could have a magnetic road that's like magnetic north, and then you could have a magnetic north, car, like underneath the car could be like magnetic north, and then it'll be, it'll hover above it. And I was thinking, like, why don't we actually do that? Like, theoretically, that is possible. And let's face it, all our roads need updated anyway with all these bloody potholes. If you did that, you wouldn't need tires. You wouldn't need fuel. You literally, I don't know how you would do it, how the physics would be. You basically, where your wheels are, you could have some sort of like magnets there that can move and pivot and tilt and stuff like that. I mean, there's probably some reason why we can't have it. And I'm going to see if I can find a video that can disprove what I think is possible. So it's actually very hard for me to find a video, and it's really weird, but I can't find a video that fully explains why we don't have magnetic roads or anything. But there is a video here that apparently is actually there's something actually. There is something being done about it. Listen to this.
Wheels have been an irreplaceable part of transportation for more than 5,000 years. But scientists in China are changing the course of history by developing a magnetic technology that will finally lift cars above the ground, so they flow on the roads without the latter's resistance. As a result, cars become very energy efficient, since they can develop high speeds with a magnetic push, and all these without emission. The project is inspired by the magnetic levitating train that can reach a speed of more than 600 kilometers per hour. But unlike magnetic railways, hovering cars will flow on a simple aluminium lane, which is much easier to integrate into the existing traffic infrastructure.
There you go.
And already in 2022, the early prototypes with 2.8 tons of weight reportedly hit 143 miles per hour.
That looks fake. It looks fake, but it's real.
The levitation was achieved by a heavy magnetic system underneath the body.
Yep.
But since it increases costs and makes cars impractical to drive on regular roads, the scientists have come up with a brilliant idea of embedding only the car's wheels with ring-shaped magnets to achieve levitation.
See, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. Am I actually a scientist from China or what? What's going on here?
But how is it possible? The trick lies behind the physics law, according to which, when magnets start moving, in this case when the magnetic wheels start rotating fast, they eventually create a repelling magnetic field in adjacent conductors, in this case in the aluminium sheet. As a result, this repulsion force leads to levitation and is used to accelerate the car. After evolving from horses to vehicles, the electric levitating car can become the next big revolution in personal transportation.
Well, there you go. That's what I was thinking. So, I just don't know. Why have we not done this way before? But if you have like a magnetic car, right, that hovers above the ground, you don't need suspension. You don't need tires. Yes, it'll be difficult, to get it everywhere. I suppose, like, you can't go around to visit your granny if she lives somewhere that, that doesn't have a magnetic road. So in order for that to be something that, is possible, you would need to completely redo every single road on the planet if you want to go global. And another thing as well, you wouldn't need any fuel. If magnets are pushing and pulling you, and you can control that, you don't need fuel. Can you imagine, right? All of these companies like Shell and BP and all this kind of stuff, like they'd be bust. There's like no need for them. So that's probably why they're not doing it. All the tire companies will have no they'll have no business. All the fuel. I mean, electric cars, everything. Why? Like, I think that's probably why they're not doing it, is because it would just crash the economy, probably. Like, oh no, nobody needs any more fuel. I mean, totally good for the environment. Zero emissions, absolutely zero emissions, and that, you don't need to sit and charge your car or anything. You literally just get in it, and this thing just goes, just hovers away from you. And takes you where you need to go. I mean, how would you do like an emergency stop though? I don't know. But yeah, so that's where the idea came from, that film. Now, what I would say is that, right, Here's my thoughts about what do you call it? Total Recall, the second one. I liked it. I think it was a good remake. I think it would have been better. I mean, it's not better than the original one because it's like it's nostalgia. Do you know what I mean? Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you know, the new one it's a good movie. I definitely recommend it. They could have just, you know, didn't do a Total Recall version of it. They could have just done something similar and just not call it Total Recall. And it still would have been a good film. But it's probably one of my favorite remakes, but still not as good as the original. And that got me thinking as well, right? So if you have a magnetic car, right, then let's say everywhere, all the roads are all magnetic. You have a magnetic car. That's the way the future is. And I'm thinking about a house like your actual home. Like what could you do with magnets at your own home? And one other thing that popped into my head was like, imagine having like magnetic walls. So all your house, right, all the walls, like in your living room and stuff, is all magnetic. And then if you get like a TV that's got like really strong magnets on the back of it, then you could literally just stick it. Like imagine your whole wall, like your wallpaper, for example, is like a thin layer of magnets. And let's say it's north, and then everything that you buy, like TVs, I know, shelves, all that kind of stuff, is all south, so it's attracted. So literally just like a fridge magnet, you know, sticking to your fridge. Imagine like your whole wall was like that, and then you just got your brand new TV, and you're like, where do you want to put it? Let's put it here, and then it just sticks to the wall. No need for nails, you know, all that kind of stuff. It will literally just stick to the wall. Oh, I don't like it that way. Oh, like imagine changing your house around. You just take everything, just pull everything off the walls. All your picture frames and all that kind of stuff, all magnetic, just literally take it off. I wonder, can you buy magnetic wallpaper? I mean, all of this seems plausible, if that's the right word. Magnetic wallpaper. There is. And it's like very expensive. No, it's like a whiteboard. So there's one there. A magnetic board for your wall. A magnetic wall. I mean, it's only tenner for that. But it's basically, you know, they've put some stuff on there. I think it would have to be very strong magnetic wallpaper to hold up like a TV and stuff. But if you like, you know, the surface area, if it was greater, so like if your TV, instead of it being like 4 little magnets on each corner, the whole back of the TV would have to be magnetic. If you go to your fridge now, if there's a magnet on your fridge, you know, magnets are quite strong. And I think if you had a flat screen TV and the whole back of it was just all like covered in magnets, like it should, in theory, just stick to the wall. No more nails. So all the nail companies and the screw companies and, you know, anything that's drilled, like all Nikita drills and all this kind of stuff, all gone. All gone. I think I'm starting to understand why this has not actually happened. So there you go. So you got magnetic walls. Everything just clips onto there. You got a magnetic car. I mean, you can charge your phone up now with magnetic thing, can't you? You can just set it down. Because I'm pretty sure that magnets are conductible. I wonder what the science is behind it. But I'm pretty sure that electricity can pass through magnets. Or, in fact, magnets can actually generate electricity, can't it? I don't know. I'm going to see if I can find a video here, and we'll get the science behind a magnet, and then that'll give us a bit of an understanding of what I'm actually talking about here. So I got a video here from YouTube, and it's from a guy called Professor Dave Explains, and he's going to explain magnets and the magnetic field. Now, one thing I will say is, how many times have I said magnet in this episode? it just dawned on me. All I've said is magnet this, magnet that. I might from now on, if I go to say magnet, I might go, no, not yet. Again, this video is for educational purposes. This is for use. You can't sue me, Professor Dave. I'm going to do a commentary on this, which makes it for use. So here we go. Here is Professor Dave explains magnets.
Professor Dave here. I want to tell you about magnets.
He knows a lot about the science stuff. Professor Dave explains.
He looks like Jesus. Picture Jesus. Long hair, beard. That's exactly what Professor Dave looks like.
We have known about the magnetic properties of certain types of matter for thousands of years and have long utilized this phenomenon for navigation in the form of a compass and also to display good report cards on the fridge. A few different kinds of magnets are instantly recognizable, like the popular horseshoe variety. And most people are...
Do you know something? I don't think I've ever in my life held a horseshoe magnet. It's an iconic one, it's like a C shape or like a horseshoe, and it's red and it's got white tips on it. Like if you think of a magnet, that's what you would probably think of, wouldn't you? But whenever I think of a magnet, I think about like school where it's like, I think it's red and blue. It's either red and blue or red and black, one of the two. But I've never in my life ever held one of them horseshoe ones. Never.
That these attract iron-containing objects. Any bar magnet will have ends called poles.
A bar magnet, that's the one I'm used to.
One will be the North Pole and one will be the South Pole, which were named as such because of the way a suspended bar magnet will orient with respect to the cardinal directions. This is how a compass works. It's just a magnetic needle that always points north.
Because, Dave, we all know why, don't we? Because it's attracted to the south magnetic pole of the Earth, which is in north. Oh, it's confusing.
Poles repel and opposite poles attract, just like electric charges. The difference is that opposite charges can be isolated, whereas no matter how many times you cut a magnet in half, it will always contain both poles.
That's weird, huh? That is weird. So if you have a magnet, it's got a north and a south, and you break it in half, the two halves, like, it won't be south and north, it'll break into, and that's weird. That's weird.
To fully understand the properties of matter that allow for magnetic behavior, we must understand the electron configurations of the atoms in the magnet, and we must therefore learn some chemistry. If you're interested, you can check out my general chemistry series for more atomic knowledge than you can shake a stick at. But for our purposes here, it will suffice to understand that most materials contain atoms with all of their electrons paired up in orbitals, with one spin up and one spin down, such that they can...
Do you understand this? You are all probably sitting there going, right, I'm lost. I'm absolutely lost.
Each other out. But some substances like iron, cobalt, and nickel have electrons that aren't canceled out, and some of these can be called ferromagnetic. In these materials, the atoms will adopt an orientation such that all of their net spins are aligned in parallel fashion. And this phenomenon, which we can refer to as a magnetic domain, will generate a magnetic field. A magnetic field can be depicted using field lines, just like an electric field. And though they will appear to begin at the north pole of the magnet and end at the south pole, they have no true ends.
This is even confusing me.
They are closed loops that continue through the magnet itself. In this way, Earth itself is a giant bar magnet, with the magnetic North Pole about 1,500 kilometers from the geographic North Pole, and the magnetic...
Well, I thought... No, is that right?
South Pole about the same distance from the geographic South Pole.
Hang on, he's just said opposite what I said. I always... Have I been lying to you guys? I got my source of information from Neil deGrasse Tyson, right? Who is, well respected in his field. Now, he told me that the South Pole is actually he didn't tell me, I listened to the podcast, and he said like the magnetic South Pole is, the North Pole is actually the magnetic South Pole, but he's saying the opposite. He's saying it's the same.
Just like an electric field. And though they will appear to begin at the North Pole of the magnet and end at the South Pole, they have no true ends.
I don't know what to believe anymore now.
Closed loops that continue through the magnet itself. In this way, Earth itself is a giant bar magnet with the magnetic North Pole.
Now, you see, even in that picture, right? So he was saying the Earth is a magnetic bar magnet. Now, the picture he just used there, which I'm actually going to screenshot and put it on Stewie's Facebook page and Instagram, shows that the South is in the North.
Ends. They are closed loops that continue through the magnet itself.
There.
In this way, Earth itself is...
See, so he's got a picture of Earth, right? And then on the top of Earth, it says S. There's like a little bar magnet, right? And then, but the S is in the North, right? I'm confused.
Giant bar magnet with the magnetic North Pole about 1,500 kilometers from the geographic North Pole and the magnetic South Pole about the same distance from the geographic South Pole.
See, that's not what Neil deGrasse Tyson told me. But this guy's a professor. God, even I don't know what to believe anymore now. Have I been lying to everybody?
The geographic poles mark Earth's axis of rotation, but the magnetic poles exist because of the way atoms are distributed in Earth's iron core, which align their spins just like the atoms in a bar magnet. The magnetic poles actually change their position slightly over thousands of years as material in the core changes position. There is so much magnetized material in the Earth's core that the magnetic field generated is absolutely immense, stretching far out into space. This field interacts with high-energy charged particles that race towards us from the sun and deflects them towards the magnetic poles to produce the aurora borealis, when these particles collide with molecules in our atmosphere. These become excited and release colorful light upon relaxing back to the ground state. Without the Earth's magnetic field, we would be at tremendous risk from this kind of radiation, and life on Earth probably wouldn't be possible.
Oh, there you go. Oh, hang on.
Electric current is able to deflect a compass needle, and magnetic fields affect the paths of particles with electric charge. So it wasn't long until we realized that electricity and magnetism were two sides of the same coin, which was then dubbed the electromagnetic force. We now realize this is true because it is the motion and orientation of electrons that produce magnetic fields. We can use the right-hand rule to show that if you grasp a current-carrying wire in your right hand with the thumb pointing in the direction of the current, your other fingers will wrap in the direction of the magnetic field that is generated by the current. We later...
Well, there you go. Now, I'm going to have to look into this here because he's saying to me that the magnetic north... Right... Let me look into this because I think it's either he's wrong or Neil deGrasse Tyson is wrong. Right? Neil deGrasse Tyson said on a podcast that the North Pole, the grid north of the Earth, the North Pole. He said that it's actually the South Pole because of the magnetics, attract blah blah blah. But he's saying the opposite. So I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find out who's lying, who's telling the truth here because I've been running around telling everybody that the North Pole is actually the South Pole. Right, so I'm going to ask none other than ChatGPT. Hey, ChatGPT.
I'm right here, ready for whatever you've got. Go ahead and hit me with your questions or whatever you need.
Right. Is the Earth's North Pole actually the Earth's South Magnetic Pole?
Yeah, exactly. The Earth's geographic North Pole is actually near the magnetic South Pole and vice versa. The magnetic poles are opposite. So the North Magnetic Pole is actually near the geographic South Pole. It's a bit of a mind bender, but that's how it works.
You know something? You just clarified that for me. Thank you very much. Hey, ChatGPT, I got a roadcaster. Now, do you remember the time you came onto this podcast and I interviewed you?
Absolutely. I remember that. That was a fun time. How's the roadcaster working out for you?
Dead on. Do you fancy coming back and do another episode?
Absolutely. I'd be up for that. Just let me know the details and we can set it up whenever you're ready.
I'll get my guys to speak to your guys.
Sounds like a plan. Just let me know whenever you're ready and we get everything lined up. Looking forward to it.
Right. See you later. Right, there you go. So, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I was right. You heard it here, and ChatGPT said it. So that guy, Professor Dave, you're wrong. Wrong. I don't know where he gets his source of information from, but he's wrong. So there you go. So that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And there you go. So, yes, that's definitely going to be another thing. So if, like, whatever I did with Spotify and Audio Boom, like, I've lost pretty much every single episode apart from episode 49 onwards. So the ChatGPT interview that I did is actually one of the ones that I've lost. You can still find them on Apple Podcasts. They're all there. For some reason, Apple kept them all, which I'm happy about. But I had to like basically put my phone towards the microphone and then do an interview with ChatGPT. And the sound quality wasn't the best. So sound quality, I'm mentioning it again. But I'm definitely going to do a number 2 and get her on here with the roadcaster, because I think that'll be another one. And I'm going to write down a whole load of like awkward questions for ChatGPT, and we'll get stuck into that. But there you go. So I can't believe that guy lied. I can't believe he lied. He said that the magnetic north is next to the magnetic north pole, which is false. And he's a professor. We just outed him. There we go. Right, what else we got here? So I'm just going to completely forget about the science behind magnets because of that guy. Because he's incredible. Unreliable. But what else could we use magnets for? What else? I mean, you could stick things to things. I mean, a gun? Can you make a gun out of magnets? Like, I'm thinking warfare here. Like, magnetic weapons. Ooh. Can you have a magnetic weapon? Let me just see. This is the bit where, what do you call them? The FBI are going to start, alerts are going to come up in the FBI. Ding, 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 ding. We have a guy. Hang on.
We have a guy in the UK who's trying to make magnetic weapons. The FBI are now watching you.
I mean, I'm joking, but this is probably true, right? Magnetic weapons. Either the FBI are listening to this, or North Korea is. It's one of the two. Real guns. Oh, there is. Magnetic weapons such as a real gun. As in RAIL gun. Well, we actually have some videos here. Right. Magnetic weapons. Right, this guy better be telling the truth.
A weapon I've never seen before is a magnetic acceleration rifle. Well, actually, I have seen them before. They exist. We have a rail cannon in real life. The StarCraft gun uses railgun tech, but I've never seen one used to its full potential. Usually they work by throwing something that's pretty light at super duper fast speed, imparting a lot.
Not just super speed, but super duper speed. Who is this guy? Marcus Vance on YouTube, guys. Shout out.
Of kinetic energy, but it's a powered weapon, which means you can change the power. High penetration is great, but you know how real suppressors...
There you go. You heard it here, guys. High penetration is great. That's one for all you ladies out there.
Movie quiet, you still have the sound of the slide working and the bullet breaking the sound barrier. Alternate Gauss rifle setting that throws a heavier slug at subsonic speeds. These could be movie silent and potentially even more effective against unarmored targets. Even just giving any soldier the ability to switch from 1 or 2 different settings would be great.
There you go. And that video just cuts off like that. Well, there you go. Deep penetration. So there is actually magnetic weapons. So you could have an army full of magnetic people. So you got weapons, cars, house, everything in your house, clothing, magnetic clothes. I mean, if you had like magnetic boots, you'd be able to just walk, especially if your house is all magnets and your ceiling and stuff. Like, in fact, if your whole house, even the outside, was like magnets, like your roof tiles, and then, I don't know, let's say you need to do something to your roof, you could just walk up your house, like on the outside of it, and walk onto your roof. Like, almost like Spider-Man. But then, you know, there was a video earlier on that touched on an airplane flying past, like a warplane, and then it's got all of its, you know, gadgets and stuff on its cockpit. Pit. And yeah, so that would interfere with them. So if your house was full of magnets, then, you know, your laptop and all probably wouldn't work, would it? Like all the components. I'm just thinking myself here. But yeah, so let's just go with it anyway. We'll just think about it. We'll just fantasize about it. So magnetic clothes. I mean, I suppose you already have magnetic clothes, don't you? You can get like, what do you call them? Bow ties, and then they clip on. Magnetic boxers. What about a magnetic bra? You know, you'd have to put like magnets on your nipples or something, and then instead of just like, you know, unclipping your bra from the back or anything, you just get your bra, like, and you don't need straps. You just literally like clip them on. Would that work? I don't know. Magnetic clothing. Yeah, just having a little quick search here, and it is pretty much that. It's like, you know, you got your cuffs on your shirt that just clip, magnetic clips. Surely magnets then, you could just replace buttons with magnets. Why is that not a thing? Like, you wouldn't need buttons anymore. You just literally like... Because the way I'm thinking of this, right? Magnetic clothing, magnetic cars, magnetic this, magnetic... That's the future, isn't it? That will remove so much things, right? Now that I think about a shirt, instead of me, like a Neanderthal, doing every single buttons, I literally put it on and then they all just snap in. Done. Do you know what I mean? Look at that primitive person over there having to button up his shirt, whereas I just have to put it on and then just snaps on place. Clothing company makes shirt. Oh, well, there we go. Magnetic buttons. Oh, right, this guy's cerebral palsy. I don't think... I mean, that shirt actually doesn't look too bad. So this guy's got cerebral palsy, and obviously he can't undo the buttons himself. But by a magnetic thing... Hang on. Why is there no sound? So he's basically just clipping them in. Like, the magnets are just clipping them in. And it actually doesn't look too bad, that shirt. I'd wear that. I would wear that. And then also, like, your shoes. You wouldn't need laces anymore, would you? I know you got Velcro. Interesting thing about Velcro is NASA invented the Velcro. Do you know that? For, like, their space suits and stuff. Like, whenever they're out doing their spacewalks, they were like, we need to find out a way of the equipment because it'd be hard to put it in a bag, like a bag or something on you or whatever. So they invented Velcro. I'm pretty sure that's a fact. Let me just fact check this. I was wrong. No, NASA did not invent the Velcro. The hook and loop fastener was invented by Swiss engineer George D. Mistral. He invented it in the 1940s. He was inspired by a nature of observing how something to do with like dog hairs. Burdock burrs cling on to dog hairs. So what the hell is burdock burrs? Something was clinging on to dog fur, and then that guy was just like, he looked into it and he was like, oh, I'm going to simulate that. And then he simulated it, and then there you go. Then we've got Velcro. But while NASA did not invent it, the space agency adopted it. The use of Velcro for securing items on the Apollo mission significantly popularized the fastener, leading to worldwide spread of the use in various industries. So NASA didn't invent it, but they used it, and then it became popular. So I was half right, kind of. But we're not talking about Velcro. We're talking about magnets. Now, who invented magnets? Or who discovered it? Who invented the internet? No. Who invented electricity? God did. Who invented magnets? I don't think it was somebody who invented it. There you go. Hey, what are you doing? No single person invented the magnet. They are naturally occurring phenomena, just like me. But the discovery and the scientific understanding of magnets has a long history. Ancient cultures such as the Greeks and Chinese were the first to discover and use magnet rocks. The English scientist William Gilbert, what a proper English name that is, William Gilbert, is credited for being the first to make artificial magnets and conduct scientific work on the properties around 1600. So it's always the English, isn't it? Tell you what, British people and English people back in them days were smart as hell. Everything, scientists back in them days, well, the English, all over it. Absolutely all over it. If it wasn't for them, the world we live in right now wouldn't be what it is. But yeah, that was a stupid thing for me to say, who invented the magnet, because obviously it's a natural substance. What I should have done was said who discovered it. Right, what else have we got here? I've actually written down corporation tax, no accountant. Now, that should have been something I was talking about whenever I, that I was supposed to talk about when I was talking about what I've been up to recently, because that's something I did yesterday. So I was like, what? I got a letter through the door, and it was like, your corporation tax needs to be filed by the end of this month. And they were like, we warned you a couple of months ago. And I was like, no, you bloody didn't. If you did, I never got no letter. But I kind of knew it was up. I didn't know when. I thought it was up at the end of the month, but I wasn't too sure. But then they did send me a letter, and they were like, yeah, you need to do it by the end of this month. Now, normally, my accountant would have sorted that out. But she was so bad that I ended up just chinning her off. Just sacked her. Now, she didn't respond to my emails whenever I asked, like whenever I was sending emails. She filed my company accounts late, got me my business fined, even though she paid the fine, but still, it looks bad for my business to HMRC if I'm if my accounts are late and all this kind of stuff. So she stopped, like every time I sent her an email, she was never like responding. So I just ignored her. Literally, she was like, are you filing your accounts this week? Ignored her. Are you doing this? Ignored her. I'm like, how does that feel? Does it feel nice being ignored when there's important things to be done? So I was like, I'm going to have to do this corporation tax myself. And I was like, right, how hard can it be? And I did it within like 2 hours. I was done. In fact, less than that. I went on to Government Gateway, and then I was like, I need to file my corporation tax. Okay, well, this is the form you need. Okay, I want to do it online. Okay, well, here, this is it online. Answer these questions. How much is this, and how much have you spent on this, and your expenditures and all this kind of stuff. And I just sat there and I filled it all out. Sometimes, there was a thing where I needed to, it was like, how much did you paid yourself, and how much, how many, how much did it cost to run the business this year, blah, 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 right? They ask you all these questions. And basically, you get your profits. So how much profit have you made in the last 12 months or during this period, right? So I was like, this is how much. Okay. And then it calculates. So whenever you say, well, it costs this much in fuel, everything gets deducted to the point where you're left with a significant figure. And that's what you get taxed on. So you only get taxed on your profits, right? And when, this year, my business actually grown, right? So the profits have grown, but last year I had to pay a certain percentage for tax, right? And I let my accountant do it, and I paid way more corporation tax when I let her do it than what I've done this year. Does that make sense? And people often say, oh, get an accountant, they'll save you so much money. No, I did it myself, and I've saved more money, even though my profits have went up. So I'm actually paying less corporation tax this year than I did last year, even though my profits have went up, and because I am doing it. So whenever you actually fill in, I think it's called the CT600, something like that. When you fill it in, it asks you, how much have you spent on food? How much have you spent on this? And how much have you spent on that? She doesn't know, your accountant doesn't know it all. Even, what your accountant does, they will probably get your bank account and then just run off some numbers or whatever, like your mileage and stuff like that. But if you know your business more than the accountant, then I think you can actually save yourself more money than an accountant will. But I've done it all now. I've done the corporation tax. I've done confirmation statement. By the way, I did that as well. I was getting charged. My accountant was charging me, she charged me £75 to do my confirmation statement, and I did it yesterday. Do you know how long it took me? Not even 10 minutes. And not even 10 minutes. I literally logged in, and it's like, is this details correct? Is this detail correct? Yes. Is this correct? Yes. Do you still, is your business still registered there? Yes. Have you changed anything? No. Is this your number? Yes. You're confirming all your details are still correct and up to date. And then it's like submit, but you do have to pay. I think I paid £35. It has went up. It used to be 28 or something. But once you pay that, it's like done. I'm like, oh, that's it. All over. So confirmation statement, you can do it by yourself. Corporation tax, you could do it by yourself. Personal, what is it? Your own tax. I can't remember. I don't know, whatever it's called, but you can do it yourself. End of year accounts, you can do it yourself. See if you've got I think I've done a business podcast before, but I might do another one. But if you have a micro company, which is what I'm classed as, you don't listen to anybody telling you that you need an accountant, right? Because you don't. You can do it yourself. Save yourself £500 a month. Save yourself £500-600 a year. Now they like to charge per month, so you're probably paying an accountant £40, £50, £60 a month, and you don't have to. You could do, if you've got a micro company, you could do every single thing: corporation tax, end of year accounts, confirmation. You can do all of that within a day. Easy. As long as you have your numbers. So and your bank, basically you download a CSV, I think it's called, or a SCV or something like that. You download that from your bank account. Then you get a spreadsheet thing. Like I use WPS. And then you do a thing called a pivot table. And then you just, it just categorizes all your money basically. And then there you go, there's your numbers. But every month I always go through the bank. And then I add up how much I've made that month, and then I add up how much. Like once I add up everything, I put it into the spreadsheet. So I'm like September. So at the at the end of this month, I'll go, right, from the 1st of September to the end of September, how much money have you made this month? Right. I'm just realizing yesterday was Mewtwo's birthday. Oh, I'm going off topic here. My business is officially 5 years old yesterday. How did I not? I'm going to do a happy birthday post now. A day late. So my business now is 5 years. 5 years running. But anyway, so yeah, if you've got a micro company, don't bother. As long as you keep your numbers right. So at the end of the month, put in your figures, how much you made, and then put in how much you spent, and then deduct it, and then you're either going to be in the red or the green. I've been doing that right from the very beginning, 5 years ago, almost to this day. I started that, so I can look back and see exactly how much has went in and how much has went out. Them numbers is really handy to have. But there we go. I'm ended on a business note there. But magnets, can we have a magnetic world? It's possible. I'm gonna have to do a post now. I'm gonna have to do a happy birthday post from. I can't believe I didn't do that yesterday. But there we go. Magnets. Stick a magnet up your bum and then sit on a magnetic sofa, and you'll just have it there. Facts. Absolute facts. Right, I'm out of here, guys. Cheers for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. God knows what it's going to be about. But yeah, I'm going to have to try and find my original intro, but thanks for listening, and ignore that last intro, that horrible last intro from episode 62. Forget that even existed, right? Cheers. See you on the next one. Bye!